Welcome to this session. In this session, let us understand the function of the cell. In the previous session, we have ended our discussion by understanding the size and the shape of the cells. Now let us understand the functions performed by the cells. The first thing which comes to our mind is cell is a structural and functional unit of life. When we think about the cell, the first thing which comes to our mind is it is a structural and a functional unit of the living organism. And when I talk about the structural unit, that means we can say that this cell it is helping to form the cell is helping to form the entire structure of the living organism. Correct. The way how the bricks are helping to construct a building, to give the structure for a building, in a very similar way the cells are also helping to give the structure for the living organism. The living organism may be any kind of, it may be a dog or maybe any kind of animal, plant, or a human being, any kind of living organism. For all the living organisms, these cells are giving the structure. Correct. So now let us see how exactly these cells form the structure. There are various levels into which these cells are organized to form organ system, and the basic level of the organization is cell. Let us now take an example of human being and understand the level of organization. If you look at the body of the living organism, this body of the living organism, the basic unit, the first and most basic unit is the cell. And it is not possible to see the cells with the help of our naked eyes because they are very small. They are very microscopic in nature. You know that, right? And these cells, they combine to form a group. If there is one cell, these kind of cells, they create a group. They combine and they form a group, and these group we call it as tissues. The cells, they combine to form the group, and the group of cells we call it as tissues. And each group of cells, for example, the group of cells which are present in the nervous system, the group of cells which are present in the respiratory system, these cells, they perform the different function. Correct. Each group of cells, they perform the various functions. It is not that the cells which are present in the stomach or the cells which are present in some respiratory section or maybe the excretory section, it is not that they are going to perform same kind of function. The cells which are present in the stomach region, respiratory region, excretory region, all they perform the variety, that is various set of functions. Correct. As these group of cells, they combine to form tissues. These tissues later they combine to form the organ. I told the basic unit is cell. Cells combine to form tissues. These tissues, they combine to form the organ. And you know that there are various organs in the human body. Correct. There is stomach, liver, there is lungs. There are so many various organs which are present in the human body. So the tissues, they combine to form the organ. And there are so many organs which are present in the human that perform the organ system. Organ system that maybe comprises of the mouth, the food pipe, the stomach, the intestine. There are so many organs. There are so many organs which are present in the human being. We call it as organ system, which is formed by individual organs. And finally, these organ system, they form an organism. Correct? So, as I told you, there are levels of organization. The first and basic unit is cell. Cells combine to form tissues. There are various tissues, they combine to form the organ. And if you look at the organ, there are so many organs which are present in the body. And many organs in the body comprises to form the organ system, and organ system finally comprise to form an organism. Clear? This is how the levels of organization is seen in the human being as well as most of the animals. Correct? And if we have to understand about the cells, they are the base for everything. If there are no cells, then there will be no organism. If there are no cells, then there will be no organism. The basic thing is cell. Cell is creating everything. Everything in the cells, it is creating tissues, organs, to form organ system, and finally an organism. So if there are no cells, then there are no organisms. The entire structure of a living thing or a living organism is based on the cell. The entire thing is based on the cell. Hence, the cell is the structural unit of the living organism. Clear? How does the cell is giving the structure? You have understood, right? It is called as the structural unit of living organism. Let us take another example to understand this. The cells which are present in the respiratory system, that is epithelial cells. So these epithelial cells, they combine to form epithelial tissues, and these tissues now form an organ called the lung. Correct? And what is the function of lung? They exchange the gases, they help in respiration. And this organ which is present in the body of the human being forms an organ system, and finally we call that organ system as an organism. Correct? So now let us understand the cells as a functional unit. We have understood the cells as the structural unit. Now let us understand as a functional unit. What are the various functions performed by an organism? There are so many various functions which are being performed inside an organism, right? So let us take an example of human being, and let us take an example. For example, if the human being is holding something, is walking by holding something, that to hold is something called an object. Energy is needed for that particular organism, right? And how do this energy is being released? This energy is being released inside the body with the help of cells which are present in the body. The cells are performing the function. They're performing the functions to release the energy. As a result of the energy which is being released, the organism, that is the human being, is able to perform the function. Correct? So when I talk about the digestive system, how the digestive system performs. When we take the food inside the mouth, what happens? The food enters into the food pipe and finally it reaches the stomach. In the stomach, there are so many cells which are present, and those cells, they break down the food. They break down the compound food, that is the largest food particles. Larger food particles will be broken down into the smaller one. Correct? And these smaller food particles, they finally dissolve. They dissolve and they enter into the food. As a result of that, what is that dissolved particle, which is called as the glucose or whatever it may be. So they reach the cell. The dissolved food will reach to the cell, and the cells receives those dissolved food, and it performs the function of releasing the energy. In your 8th and 9th standard, I'll be explaining you what exactly happens during cellular respiration. But for this class, please understand that cells perform the function. They perform the function of releasing the energy. As a result of the energy which is being released, the organism perform various functions inside the body. Correct? So basically, the process of digestion happens because of that each cell, they performs the particular function. The cells which may be present in the mouth performs different function. They help in chewing the food, correct? The cells which is present in the food pipe, they may be helping the food to send into the stomach. And the cells which is present in the stomach, they help in digestion. Correct. So the cells which are present in each region perform the different function. Correct. So now we can say that the cell is considered as the functional unit. So here it is cell, it is not visible. It is the cell. This is the cell which is considered as the functional unit. Clear? So now we can say that the cells are the structural and the functional unit of the life. Correct? Because when we perform any type of activities with the help of our muscles or whatever it may be, what happen? The basic function is getting arised from the cell. The cell is helping to perform the functions. Whatever the functions we perform, that function is being performed with the help of cells, with the support of cells. Correct? So each and every cell which is present in the organ system of an organism help that particular organism to do various kind of activities. Clear? So the conclusion which we have come is cell is considered as a basic structural and a functional unit in the living organism. Correct?